Welcome back to Enthador, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marcus Aurelius, and this is Dwarf Fortress version 0.42, and we are the Fortress of Sandpillar. And I've got some crazy news for you folks. It is now the 16th of Malachite in 151, midsummer. It is midsummer of our second year, and we have not been attacked by anything. Not a werebeast, not a goblin ambush. We have had a goblin child snatcher who unfortunately ran off with one of our children. Nothing I could do about that. He was already in the fortress when I saw him. And we had 2 kobold thieves who we were able to scare away. But other than that, nothing. I mean, we are literally a stone's throw away from the goblin epicenter. I thought with this new version of the game, not just this version, but the previous one, with the armies moving about on the world map, that the closer you were to a civilization, the less time it would take for them to come and attack you. But I guess that's not the case. It's really, really strange. But before we do anything, we need to profile a dwarf. And I want your opinion on this, folks, because I'm not going to do it the old way, like I did with Anvil Quested, where I read everything about the dwarf. That takes too much time. It's kind of boring for those who don't care. And they've really added a lot of stuff about these dwarves. If you look at the data, it's just paragraphs and paragraphs of how they feel when they don't have a chance to worship their god. It really goes into detail. So right now I'm just going to focus on their relations. I'm going to look at their current mood. I'll take a quick look at some of the things that happened to them recently that's affected their mood. And that's about it. So this is the second time recording this video. The first time my air conditioner went on while I was talking, and it's really loud, so I figured I'd just restart. So I'm not going to redo the randomizer. It ended up being number 31. We have between 2 and 45 because number 1 is the title line. 45 is our last dwarf. Oh, and also one thing I want to say is that some of you, for one reason or another, where I asked for your YouTube username, put your email address. And maybe when you did that, you didn't know that I was going to be possibly showing that on the screen. So in the last episode where that happened, I blurred it out because I caught it too late. I blurred it out in post-production. But for this one, moving forward, every time somebody gives me an email address, I'm basically erasing it, and I'm only leaving their actual name. Because, again, just for your own security, for your protection, because I care that much. But okay, let's look at our list. So we're at 31, and I've already done this, so I'm prepared. 31 is Tyrone Lannister. And one thing I want to quickly say also, Dwarf Fortress unfortunately puts a limit on nicknames at 16 characters. So for those of you whose names have more than 16 characters, I've really done the best I can to squeeze them in. If they're just a hair too long, I'll get rid of the spaces in the name to squeeze them all in there. But if it's way too long, I'll generally go with the first name and the last initial. The only difference would be if you have like a nickname, like for example, Jurist Fat Hog Partyhold, I'll put Jurist Fat Hog because I figure if you choose a nickname, that's what you want. Another example is Kadam Mansplitter Feldspar. That is so long that I made him, I think, C, like the letter C, Mansplitter F. And that's makes me sad because obviously you can tell by this little black triangle that they actually went in and fixed the name. So they cared a lot about it, and I'm sorry I couldn't fit the whole thing in. That is a limitation of Dwarf Fortress, not a limitation of mine. Alright, so Tyrone Lannister. Let's do a search here because now I have a fair amount of dwarves. So Tyrone Lannister Doran Call. Let's see what that means. Oops. Can we select him? That would be awesome. There we go. Tyrone Lannister Diamond Wheels is what it means. And Tyrone has come to the fortress with his wife Zazakita, but no other direct family members. As we scroll down, though, we see that he also came in with 2 of his cousins, Jurist Fat Hog and Corvus Corax. Actually, there's another cousin in here, Olvar Stonesong. So 4 cousins all came to the fortress. Presumably they brought their wives as well, but I don't know. Off the top of my head, we'll find out. And in the short time that Tyrone has been in the fortress, he has made friends with the Lost Ranger and Whitman. Alright, Tyrone feels satisfied that he finished up some work. He, overall, has had some good experiences. It says here he was aroused talking with his spouse. That's great. Love it. Few bad things. He was grouchy when caught in the rain, and he sometimes feels sad at being separated from loved ones. As we all do. I think we all can relate with that. He's 24 years old, and that's really all I'm going to say. He does have a child, but the child is elsewhere currently. He likes limonite. Oh, damn. This is the best fortress in the world for him, because we have limonite coming out our mine shafts. He likes sterling silver, red, grossular up. I'm sorry, that was terrible. Oh my god. Coffins. He likes coffins. Goblets. Oh, goblets. Let me just tell you, so annoying. Dwarves get mad in this version if they don't have goblets to drink out of. Apparently, it's no longer good enough for them just to go up to the barrel of booze and just dip their head in it. They have to actually have a receptacle with which to drink out of. I have not created any, but I will soon. He likes the words of the style of pregnancy, which I assume is a poem or a song, and the sound of the fragrance of rhyme. He prefers giant osprey, hagfish, rice beer, and quarry bush leaves. And he doesn't like jumping spiders. Well, unfortunately, aside from limonite, we don't really have a lot of what he likes, though we will have coffins and goblets aplenty, I'm sure. So obviously you could have paused and read all that if you wanted to. There's a lot of crazy stuff in there. So that is Tyrone Lannister. Alright, so let's take a look at... Well, first of all, let me introduce all the new people. I'm doing a lot of first of all here. Here's Tyrone. But I've told you everything unique and interesting about him. Alright, so... where did we stop here? Is this true? Ah, there we go. Now we're better. Okay, so I think we stopped at Rectangle for our first group of migrants in the summer of 150. No, we didn't. We stopped down here at Oleg Stormbeard because I remember Jaxie was the dwarf we profiled last time. So here we have all these we already talked about. So now we have Adil, who's a child. We have Arcanas the Fale. Sorry, I guess they wouldn't fit the N in there, but we know what it means. I hate these pop-ups. I'm just going to move it away. We have Coldnar, Colin Cole. How come Deggle wasn't named? That doesn't make sense. Colin Cole. We should have named... We have a couple people who aren't named, actually. Let me fix that. On camera. Wow, you guys get to see the process. Whew. That's got to be exciting. Alright, so what do we got here? Sorry about this, Smith Masters Jr. You should have been named before this. Well, actually, you would have been named in this recent group anyway, so as far as you're concerned, nothing is different here. But, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to Dwarf Therapist. Alright. So, Smith Masters Jr. And this might not fit. Let's see. Let's get rid of the dot. We don't need the dot. We know. Alright, it does fit. Perfect. So Smith Masters Jr. is in there. And we also have one more. Thikut. So Thikut, you are going to be Valten Reichmorsex. Ooh, that one's... I like it. It's funny. Ha ha ha, I get it. I'm not that old. But I think we're going to go with Valten R, unfortunately. I know it ruins your whole joke. And why do I keep wanting to go back to the fortress? It's because I love it so much. Valten R. It is Valten, right? Yes. Alright. So we're good there. Everyone's been named. Moving back. Alright. So, where'd we stop? We stopped at Coldnar, Colin Cold, Jurist, Fat Hog, Kelimthor O, King Tip, The Lost Ranger, Mr. Popdog, Olvar Stonesong, Rob, Sheldor R, Sig, Hammershot, of course Smith Masters, who we just added, Smithmaster's J. Oh, really? Really? You wouldn't let the R in there? Solius Putero, the good man Agzak, Tristanus, Tyrone Lannister, who we profiled, Eucor Steelclaw, Valton R. Oh, and then there's Vamp McVamperson. He's a vampire. I'll get to that in just a moment. Wombarl, Ickley, Zazakita, and then in the summer of 151, C Mansplitter F, Calum, Corvus Corax, Dorak as a child, Hankolijo, Mans Hultkrantz, Ninrek, Skeletorzar, Telor, Throthgrod S, and then 2 more children. So, and then a child was born in the Fortress 2, Onget. Onget's parents were... Does it say? Onget. It doesn't say, but I'm not that concerned about it because we've already taken a lot of time. So that's all the new folks. Welcome. Alright, so here is Sandpillar. As you can see, we are starting to build our outer wall. And we're just going to have 1 level of wall here, just so that if creatures are up here, they can't shoot arrows at us. On top of that, we're going to have fortifications for our Marks Dwarves. You'll also notice, perhaps, that we are missing a few workshops, and I'll show you why. Outside the fortress, we built 2 statues here on the entrance. The main purpose for that is that the statues are kind of an early warning system. If we don't see an enemy coming up and they're a building destroyer like a werebeast, they might attack the statue, and that will give us notification that they're there. These are human merchants, by the way. They were happy to trade with us, and now they're leaving. We have 2 more statues here. Eventually we'll have a road all the way, like a paved road all the way there. And we have a dog just chilling as well. And that's a bush. Holy crap. I'm excited to see that because we haven't had any kind of forageable vegetation at all on our little area here. And so we're not really getting much in the way of food items. Alright, moving down. So this is our agrarian floor, but it's not really developed yet. We have our kennel for dogs here. We have our chickens here. The dogs are kind of pissing me off because I think they might have changed how the game works, in that dogs used to have babies kind of through the air, meaning as long as you had a male dog and a female dog somewhere in the map, they would have babies. But I've had the male dog chilling at the statues for a while now, and the female dog's just chilling. These 2 puppies actually are named pets. She did have 1 puppy, but that was back when the 2 dogs were together. So I think they might have to be together in the same zone in order to beget offspring. And we need more dogs. Seriously. We have a still up. That's really it. We do not have a kitchen up yet. They're just eating twigs and leaves and stuff because, frankly, I have to provide for their safety, and I've been focusing on that. You know, we'll get the luxury goods later. And I think the dwarves are pretty reasonable. I think they understand the situation because 49 of them are ecstatic and 8 of them are just really, really happy. Alright, moving down. This floor we have not excavated out yet. It's a sand floor, so it's going to be our tree farm as soon as we break into the caverns, which is another thing we haven't done yet. Usually by the summer of the 2nd year, I have broken through pretty much all the caverns. But in this case, I've been using all of my time and manpower on digging this gigantic pit. Pits are incredibly labor-intensive, both for dwarves and for people who are playing the game. But as you can see, the pit is deep enough now that even with text will be text, you cannot see the bottom, which is pretty cool. You can see our little columns jutting out, which is pretty awesome. And we'll get closer to them in just a moment. I did a pretty poor job with locating them, though. Like, this one to the north actually comes out in our bedrooms, and this one here comes out in our dining room, because I dug the pit, and as a result I dug the tunnels, or at least left the space available for the tunnels before I actually dug out the fortress itself. So I was like, okay, well, the tunnel ends here, but there's really nothing I should build here but a dining room, so what am I going to do, right? But I made it work. So here is the entrance floor. This is our trade depot. This is right now our entry dining room. Actually, it's our only dining room right now, but eventually I'm going to turn this into part of the tavern. These 3 squares are going to be the tavern. This will be like a bar, maybe a dance floor. This is the tavern rooms. We have 8 good-sized square rooms, and then we have 2 rooms that are the same number of squares, but narrower. Haven't dug this out yet, not sure what I want to do with it. I think I'm going to make these 2 squares here a barracks, which is why I haven't dug it out yet, because I have to make it set up. But I think I'm going to change this and move these beds down somewhere else to have a differently located immigrant reception area. And then I'm building some fortifications here. Not sure really why I did fortifications. I probably should have done walls. The purpose is to slow enemies down. The more steps they have to take, the slower it is, the more time we have to respond. That's really the only reason for that. Because this is due to the Goblin Snatcher. It just charged up here so fast that there was no way I could have stopped it. Oh, and look, it's a bed just chilling right here. Why would we have a bed just chilling right here? Well, because it is an artifact, and I keep doing that. It's not L, Marcus. It is not L. Sorry, I just had to clear my throat. I will edit that out. Artifacts is giant L. That's why I keep thinking it's L. So it's Blood Bolted Nazuth Shaleth, a siltstone bed. This is a siltstone bed. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with oval siltstone cabochons and encircled with bands of cushioned siltstone cabochons and reindeer bone. This object menaces with spikes of horse leather. Obviously hardened horse leather to be able to spike, but it doesn't, unfortunately, once again, it doesn't have any kind of history on it. And I wish it would say who made it. That'd be one thing this game would really be great, is actually when you looked at an artifact, if it said, oh, this was made by so-and-so, because I can't really remember who it was that made it. I want to say it was Oleg Stormbeard. Yeah, it was Oleg Stormbeard. He is the creator of Blood Bolted. And he did not, unfortunately, get anything out of it. So I've had 2 artifacts made so far, and neither one led to the dwarf in question becoming legendary. But that's okay for Oleg, because he is almost a legendary miner in his own right. Actually, he might be. Yeah, he's actually legendary +5 miner. So, good job, Oleg. You didn't even need to make that bed. He made his bed. Okay, so, yeah, that's Oleg's bed. Alright, moving on. This is the storage floor. As you can see, I took out any of the walls that were sand and replaced them with stone. This is furniture storage. These, of course, are my stone stockpiles, which you've seen already for the limonite, the siltstone, and the lignite. This is my wood stockpile. We are running low on wood. This is my uncut gems stockpile, and this down here should be my cut gems stockpile. But the problem is that we're currently running low on bins, so this is not filling up as fast as I would like. This is a finished goods stockpile, but I've split my finished goods stockpiles into 2 different kinds. There's the finished goods that I want to stay in the fortress, things like quivers, clothing, rope, crutches, that kind of stuff. That goes here. And then downstairs, this is our workshop floor, and this up here is our finished goods stockpile for things I want to trade. And the purpose of it all being here is so that my jewelers can basically put gems. And eventually when we have glass, they can encrust glass onto all of our crafts and whatnot, which will increase their value. This is, I believe, for cloth, and this is for leather. It's not really laid out perfectly. Like, I have 2 masons workshops here and a bunch of leather, but that's because I have obviously the storage floor up here where the stone is. So we don't really need more stone storage since we have this. So the masons just have to either walk to this staircase or walk to this staircase and get their stone from there. Mechanics workshop, 2 crafts dwarfs workshops, and a carpenter. So carpenter, same thing. He has to walk down here or up here to get to the wood he needs, but they're close enough. So here is Vampy McVamperson. I have walled him in. He is a vampire. And vampires are actually kind of a neat insurance policy for a fortress, because it's very difficult for them to go mad because they don't need food or drink or rest. So, you know, the only way they would get mad is if they have, like, relationships, and I don't think he does. So, and even if he does go mad, no biggie. But what's cool about them is, say we get attacked, and say everyone in the fortress gets killed. As long as Vampy McVamperson is alive, more migrants will eventually show up, even if everyone else is dead. He basically makes the fortress immortal. And he's immortal, but we have him trapped in here. So here is the Great Aqueduct of Sandpillar, and what a feat of engineering it is. Now, because this is a river and not a brook, meaning it is not passable and a creature who can swim can theoretically get in, it's not 100% secure, but it's the best I could do. I floored over where I entranced it. Then, as you go down, I have a grate here, a grate here, and a grate here, and then my floodgate. Again, it won't stop a really determined attack, but I hope that the sheer pain in the assness of it will cause enemies to try to find another way in. Obviously, I'm a little behind on the workshops, so I need to fill this out, but I've been focusing once again on safety and not any type of economically viable kind of focus. Alright, so here is the beginnings of the mighty dining room of Sandpillar. These areas here are going to be storage for booze and food. This, of course, is part of the aqueduct, so I had to kind of work that in there. Again, as you can see, these rows just didn't go where they should have, because I made them first, but whatever, I made it work. And here's the other one here. So this one is, we're going to go over here to mine and stuff. I'm not going to have people tracking mud and carrying wheelbarrows full of rocks through my dining room. So I created this little nook here where they can go up these stairs to our storage floor and workshop floor. So then they can take the stones. The gems they can deposit right here, and the stones they could take to the storage area here. So they're just tracking mud over our storage and workshops, which I don't mind. So yeah, this is going to look nice once it's all smoothed out and the rocks are gone. So here is the first layer of bedrooms. Once again, another ill-timed column or row tunnel here. Nothing really we can do about this. They're going to have to unfortunately walk through the bedrooms. I don't know what else to do here. I could have, well, no, because there's this here. So I could have done another little double staircase here, which would have taken it up to here. I still might do that because we do have this little space here that nothing's being used. So I could channel this out, build a down staircase, and then build a little wall here, and then put an up-down staircase here, and then build a wall here. I could do that, and that's probably what I will do, actually, now that I think about it. So then we have bedrooms. Some of them look a little haphazard because I mined everything out that was valuable, all the gems and ore. So I'm going to have to rebuild a lot of these walls, but the extra large rooms here are for our starting 7. And the mayor's suite is down here, where we have 1, 2, 3. So we have an office, a dining room, and a bedroom for BirdieBot. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the starting 6, and then the 7th one here. This is our hospital. So this is actually all going to be walled in, but our hospital is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 rooms. And then here's the main part of the hospital, and it connects directly to our wells, which are going to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, that's where this video is going to end because we are out of time. And I know from experience that when these things go over 25 minutes, they're a real bear to process. They take forever. And I have a lot more stuff to go over with you. So next episode, part 2 of, I guess, summer of the year 2. So once again, I am Marcus Aurelius. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.